seats for everybody this month. Wish all the people here last month would come back here. Maybe they will from time to time. In the meantime, I would like to ask Jeff Williams to circulate some prayers.
Father, we do thank you for this day. Thank you for the privilege to live in this country, the freedoms that we enjoy. Those who serve to protect our freedoms, I pray your blessings on them today. Thank you for our time together, Lord. Just help us to always to represent you well. Just bless this food, our bodies, guide us through this day. We pray.
Please place face the flag in the front corner. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's see, our elected officials are here this morning, starting on this side of the room. Jeff Williams, County Board of Education. Chris Kuykendall, County Commissioner. Jeff McCurdy, Henniker City Councilman. Probably Judge Ronnie Osmond. Be here. And let's see. Senator Steve Livingston.
Good morning.
Have I missed it?
Mark Ray. Mark Ray.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who are you, Mark?
Well, he was here.
Okay, Mark Ray, that head maker, was here, probably. Okay. Candidates, I'd like to try each month to recognize whichever candidates are here, and ask them to say something briefly, with the emphasis of briefly, because we're going to wind up with a lot of it, and I know it's good but in no particular order other than just going around the room. Let's start on this side of the room this time. Nick Weldon and Sherry.
Nick Weldon, running for sheriff. Glad to be here. Glad to see y'all. But ask you to keep me in thoughts and prayers. Me and the family, we travel down this road. Glad to be here, folks.
Thank you, Nick. I'm glad this is Canada Board of Education.
I'm Uncle Evans, and I'm running for DeKalb County Board of Education. I appreciate your help and your prayer. I'm glad to be here.
Lester Black, candidate for the County Commission District 4.
I appreciate it, enjoy seeing everybody here, and if we get elected, I'm going to try to find a little more money for this county. It's going to be kind of difficult, I know, but I'm going to be out there looking, so I appreciate your vote.
Senator Livingston.
Good morning. Just proud to be here again today. Thank you.
You are going.
Yeah, we have announced about 2 weeks ago we are running again, and we'll pick up pace as things get a little closer. As the air has been sucked out of most of the ring for the U.S. Senate race. I'm sure y'all like the rest of us. We're ready to have that over with. But thank you.
Good morning, Andrew Harrison, running for circuit judge. It is not against Sean. That's most, when you get out in the crowd, I told Pam the other day, I go and I talk to people and I say, I'm running for circuit judge. They go, you vote against Sean? And I said, no, I'm not running against Sean. And then they said, okay, I'll vote for it. So I introduced myself as running for circuit judge, not against Sean. So I am having a kickoff Monday night at 6 p.m. at the Cold Iron Building. Would love for everybody to show up. We're going to talk about some plans that we've got and have some good food and really good dessert. So that's Monday at 6 p.m. at the Cold Iron Building here in Fort Payne.
Thank you.
I'm Sean Cabell, running for place, the circuit judge, place number 1, and I'm trying to differentiate that. I'm saying I'm running for place number 1. You've got good candidates for place number 2, but I was late this morning for 2 reasons. One, I got started late, and 2, I ran into a fellow preacher out here in the lobby, and even I got to preaching, everybody walked by, so it took me a lot of work to walk in here. So, but it's good to see everybody, and I still would like people to go like my Facebook page, Sean Cabell Circuit Judge. It helps me. So if you can't go do that, it's good to see everybody.
Scott Lloyd, candidate for circuit judge, couldn't be here this morning, but his father's here. Would you like to say something?
I'm dispense with all these notes, just to make it brief. Scott's always been a good son to us, never been any problem. I think that he would be that kind of judge, one that we can all be proud of. He has been the prosecutor in the direct district attorney's office for 20 years, going in the courtroom almost daily. So he knows that with 20 years of experience, close to 21. I think he would be fair with the state laws. He will be compassionate to the victims who are hurt. And that's really important because when you're in court, somebody's done something wrong, probably to a victim. And I think that one of the strongest things is going to be helping the victim. Thank you. We'd like to have your vote.
Everybody judge on out.
Yeah, I've been telling y'all for the last 6 years now, I'm running this year. This is it. 2018, kind of like Judge Bell up there. They got their shirts on now. I'm gonna have to get my shirts out just in case somebody runs against me. But proud to be here, talk about the election, 26th of this month, the Senate election. Make sure that everybody knows that the VFW Fair is taking one of our polling places. Will be moving to the City of Fort Payne Auditorium. So for the poll workers here, let everybody know that, and we'll get some ads in the paper on that also. But look forward to 2018, and it's going to be a real quick year. Now the sheriff, I'm going to get Scotty or somebody to check it out for me. I think next year we'll probably have all Republican return officers. I think we have to, with the 3 of us running, it happens every 12 years. I think the governor has to appoint the circuit clerk spot. So we can look forward to that in DeKalb County. It'll be a change for us to have all Republican return. That'll help us out a lot. Thank y'all much. Royce, you got a question?
Yes, in the runoff this time, since it's just Republicans, will it just be Republican poll workers at the runoff?
No, it will not. It will be 2 and 2. Most places will just keep it a minimum. And the state law says you have to have at least 4 poll workers per precinct. So we'll have 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. And at most places, and then the Rangeville box and all 3 of the Fort Payne boxes will have more than that, probably full load or a little less. But because we have problems just getting people to show up, the percentages is going to be so low. Anybody else got any questions?
You said like that you're running for Fort Payne. Are you supposed to poll workers? Are we supposed to get full amount?
I would go ahead and just get them 4 boxes. The Wilson Valley and the Senior Center and the VFW and Rangeville. I'd go ahead and just fill them because we have problems. They're going to not show up. Some of them are not going to show up anyway. We'll have another school between now and probably the end of November for the poll workers. And we'll have another training session. So as we get closer, thank y'all a bunch.
Thank you, sir. Jeff McCurdy, circuit judge, place 2.
Yeah, I'm Jeff McCurdy. I'm running for circuit judge place 2. Of course, as you said, that's not against Judge Bell. However, if he doesn't give me a campaign donation, I might switch it between now and then. But that's what I've been telling him anyway.
I'll give you one to switch.
Hey, Judge, entire life. Graduated from Sylvania. I was a teacher for 12 and a half years here in the county. And I've been a lawyer the last 8 years here in Fort Payne. So I appreciate your support, your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Cotton.
I'm Chris Cotton, here in District 3. I am a candidate for re-election regardless of what's my heard. I'll make an official announcement this month after I formally file with the state. But it's been a pleasure to serve, and I think we have got a lot of things accomplished. But now I'd also like to make a point to thank the city of Fort Payne for being so gracious as to offer the use of the city auditorium for the election, the runoff election. It was just been an unusual situation. It may never happen again, but they worked very hard and very good about it.
Thank you, Chris. Jeff Williams.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Williams, currently serve on the DeKalb County Board of Education, District 3. I'm not like Chris, we'll do a little bit later when we officially announce, but we intend to run again and look forward to serving.
Thank you, Jeff. And finally, Michael Levinson, candidate for sheriff.
Good morning, it's good to see everybody. I'm Mike Levinson. I'm currently the chief deputy over the sheriff's office. We've got a long way to go to get to the election. I appreciate everybody's support and prayers throughout all this. Good to be here this morning.
Okay, at this time, Scotty Owens, our county chairman, I think he's got a couple of announcements.
I'll be real quick. I'll go through it real quick. The other sheet we're having this afternoon is going to be $50 a head. First come, first served. We got balls and bucks. Rodney and I have been working on that all week. I really want to thank Rodney Ivy. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be having this call. But you got to have property to get this stuff ready. So it'll be a good event. I'll put on that. Executive committee meeting will be September the 12th. I know Senator Livingston and Levy all at the town hall out on the bird. We will get our schedules figured out and free up the second Tuesday maybe going forward. But we will try and set our primary resolution that day, which will follow be January 8th through February 9th on qualifying, so your candidates will know that. Boom Days is September the 16th in Fort Payne. Our headquarters is right in the middle of it. So we'll have a breakfast. I think Livingston and up there are going to sponsor that breakfast. We've got sausage biscuits and Kiwanis Club is something up across the street. We're going to have pancakes for them and give them a little donation and kind of give back to you. Okay. We're going to have an Alabama-Auburn tailgate party. Not the week of that football game because it's Thanksgiving. There's too much stuff going on. That's going to be November the 16th. And just look for an email on Facebook for details on that. It'll be a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll give me all. Anyway. On December the 9th, we've got Julie Pianos coming to the DeKalb Theater. That's going to be our winter fundraiser for the year. And I'll get you some details out on that. It's going to be a fun event. I talked with Jeff McCurdy. We're going to get a golf tournament for 2018 in the spring, and we're going to do a fishing tournament for the summer of 2018. I'll talk to Nathaniel about that. That's going to be something at Dagger Business Center, and all the details for that will come and get a little closer. That's all we got going on right now.
Thank you, Scott. Roll us later.
Just a little comment. Everybody in here is a United States citizen. We all know what's going on in our country right now. We all support. We don't look at the individuals and say, hey, are they Republican, Democrat, even Republicans or whatever. We look and see if somebody that's needing help. That we're all Alabamians, and except for Senator Butler and his wife, we're all belong to DeKalb County, and Senator Livingston and his father, maybe one or two others. And we are all interested in the Republican Party. We have several candidates running. We have incumbent candidates that have opposition. We have an opportunity now to take over the sheriff's position take over another judge's position, and we have competition for that. Pick your candidate, support them honestly, and with great effort, and financially, they'll need it. But after the primary, get it in your mind to support the winner. I'll tell you what makes me say this, and I've heard people say that if my candidate doesn't win, I won't be a member of the Republican Party. Now, I don't like being rude, and I'm going to be rude right now. If you can't support the winner, you're really not a member of the Republican Party anyways. You know, so, you know, if you're not going to support the winner, might as well just go ahead and beat the rush. Thank you.
Thank you, Ross. Now, all friends, know that author, politician, historian, and attorney would like to say a few words to us. Probably do a little peddling.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. For those of you whose wife did not buy one of my books the other night, I sold 30 Women's Club. I have books this morning. Mr. Black said, did that case change your life? It absolutely changed my life. It's taken me 33 years to revisit it and write the book. And fortunately, my darling Cindy up here, who was enslaved by Judge Bell to come here this morning and politic for him, she was the first editor of the book. The book is not about Judith Ann Neely. She's a character in it. The book is really not about Bob French, although it's autobiography. The book is about politics, pure and simple, from the beginning to the very end. The last line of the book is, I was standing across the street from the famous Mockingbird courthouse in Monroeville, and you'll recall Atticus Finch was the lawyer who defended the black man accused of raping the white woman, and he took a lot of heat for it. And she said, now what did you go through with again after that Neely case? I went through the litany, and she said, you know, you're the real life Atticus Finch. I said, no, the names just sound alike, French and Finch. Atticus Finch was a Democrat. So that's what the book is about, and I brought them to sell this morning. It's going real well. Review will be out on it, I hope, next week. It's on Amazon. We made it cheap for $20 so everybody could buy one. We had a signing last night, been told it was very successful. Got one in Rome coming up. Be it whatever it is, the thing we're going to have next week here in Boardback. It's so nice being 84 years old. You can be stupid and nobody cares. Blue Day. Anyway, I have books. If you want one, fine. If you don't, God bless you.
Thank you, Bob. Finally, this morning, we are very fortunate to have with us one of our neighbors from Etowah County, Mr. Mack Butler. His name was the state house of representatives from Etowah County, and he is running for state senate District 10, which includes a portion of DeKalb County. So he will become one of our 9 legislators from DeKalb County at the next election. And Mr. Butler lives in Rainbow City, is an electrical contractor, is in his 2nd term in the state house, is that correct? That's what I say. By the way, some of you will want to thank him for this, I'm sure. He was the House sponsor of the Alabama Memorial Preservation Act, which passed to protect monuments. And it's not just monuments, it's building names and so forth. You may want to tell us more about that. But at this time, I'd like to welcome Representative Mack.
It is great to be with you guys this morning. I want to start off
by saying, y'all have sent two of the finest men, Senator Livingston and we call him Leader Ledbetter, Majority Leader. Nathaniel is doing an amazing job in the House. He had called me yesterday to let me know there's a special club, and that's people that have twins. My wife and I, Connie, right there, of almost 34 years. We're blessed with 4 children, but the youngest are identical twins. Nathaniel has twin grandsons. Anyway, they're playing football today. So that's where he is, so he's excused. Senator Williams also called me this morning. He has got evacuees at his house, family members from Florida that are around. When you say neighbor, I feel like I grew up in DeKalb County. It's DeSoto State Park, Little River Falls, DeSoto Falls. We spent so much of my youth growing up here, and Connie and I, with our family camping, being up here, but we literally are your neighbor. We have a cabin on Lake Lahusage on County Road 106 that we've had for several years now, that it's managed by Ron at Mentone Mountain Getaways. So if you need a cabin, it's beautiful right there. But this is truly, when I think of Alabama's beautiful, I do think of DeKalb County. I want to give you an introduction to my family and to myself, so you would know who we are. I do not anticipate a primary. You know, as we're praying about this race, I'm literally praying for doors to open. And it's been amazing the way the doors have opened. And even my wife finally said, when are you going to step through one of those, as I was praying for it. But I'm very proud, you know, for Senator Williams to have hand-chose me to succeed him. Phil is also our party chairman in Etowah County. That's one of the main reasons we don't anticipate an opponent, but Senator Marsh, the pro tem, is also endorsing me for this race. And Senator Marsh said if he even hears of someone wanting to run as a Republican, he would actually go sit down with him as well and discourage him from it. So I do anticipate being your Republican nominee. But we do anticipate someone in the general election. The former minority leader for the Democratic Party, Craig Ford, has been telling people for a couple of months now he's running, but he has seen the light. He is telling people he is an independent. So we'll see how that plays out. I want to give a couple of quick commercials. I am the chairman for the District 4 Roy Moore campaign team. On September 26th, we have an opportunity, and Senator Livingston probably feels the same way I do on this. Senator Strange misled the legislature on the impeachment. The only reason Governor Bentley's gone is because of the Alabama legislature putting the pressure on him. We would have dealt with him sooner had Luther Strange not misled us. But I've been a big fan of Roy Moore for many years, and I would encourage everyone to support him. If you see the polling, he is double digits, 16 points ahead right now. If you like Luther Strange, that's okay. But I tell people all the time, if you like Mitch McConnell, vote for Big Luther. If you don't care for Mitch McConnell, as I don't, support him. But one other commercial. If a lot of you keep up with Yellowhammer News, the founder and CEO, former founder, he was the founder and former CEO, is Cliff Sims. Cliff is now the director of messaging for President Donald Trump. If you follow him on Facebook, he has the coolest pictures on Air Force One. He is with Trump everywhere. He is going to be our speaker September 19th in Etowah County Gas Convention Hall. If you'll recall back, Cliff is the one that broke the story of Governor Bentley. He tells how he felt like he was doing a drug deal. He got a message to go to a gas station around back and fill by a window, I believe it was, and there was a little zip drive that had the recordings that I think had to have come from a family member. But anyway, that's how that story got broken. So he'll be fantastic. But to give you a little insight to us, and then as I asked my wife this morning, did you ever in your wildest dreams think that I'd be a candidate for Senate? And she very gracefully said, sweetheart, you are not in my wildest dreams. But anyway, as we started, you know, I am an electrical contractor. I went to Alabama Technical College. I'm the farthest thing from what you would think would be a political guru. But as we started having a family, and you invest in your children, invest in their lives, you know, Connie and I both were coaches. I was scout leader, Sunday school teacher. But as when Morgan, our oldest, we have 1 girl, 3 boys, entered the 3rd grade, I was recruited to be the PTSO president. And that's a family event. We all jumped in, held hands, and got in there. But after serving several years as PTSO president and being very active, we did a lot of really cool things in our school. If you go in John Jones Elementary, we have the coolest cities set up on the walls. We spent many a night there doing electrical work and doing all kinds of cool things for the school. But I was encouraged to run for the Board of Education. And everyone, I see we have a couple of school board folks here, I'm very passionate about that. But, you know, people are like, you gotta run as a Democrat. I mean, I'm a lifelong Republican. My very first, when I came of age, actually, you know, we first voted for Reagan, very first time, and I've never looked back. Growing up, I didn't know what I was. My parents really were probably Democrats, but they always voted for the man, they said. Well, I am immensely pro-life, and when I learned the Republican Party platform, it made me Republican before I knew what I was. But anyway, fast forward backwards to 2002, I am all of a sudden a Republican candidate for the Etowah County Board of Education. We had great candidates for every single slot from the State House, courthouse, to the school board. And then we had some close races, but I was the only contest in the entire county that we won. Etowah County Board of Education was 2 Republicans, 5 Democrats. I'm proud to tell you, it is today 7 Republicans. We worked diligently. In 2005 and in 2007, I ran for party chair of our county and served 2 terms. We have turned all but 1 seat on the county commission Republican, and that is a minority district that we don't anticipate getting anytime soon, but we are still targeting. But we've transformed Etowah County. It's funny, just recently, it was very controversial. We did vote to accept our circuit clerk and revenue commissioner into the Republican Party. They were both elected as Democrats. They were the best and brightest the Democrats had. It's why we took them. There was some opposition to that from outside the party, but we wanted that to drive the death knell into the Democrat Party locally. In 2012, I was all of a sudden in the middle of the day, of July Day, found out there was going to be a special election, and I ran for the House of Representatives, and then ran for re-election in 2014. So I am in my 2nd term there. We have done some pretty incredible things. I mean, I'm just a small business guy. I'm a simple guy, and I want to, you know, the main thing we've got to do is invest in our young people. And if we invest in our young people, you know, it's far cheaper to educate a child than it is to incarcerate one. And if you do not educate them, you're most likely going to incarcerate them. So I'm a big proponent. You know, only 23% of our population gets a 4-year degree. And the goal as educators, we've got to get these children ready for either college or career. And I'm a huge proponent of career tech training. In my day, it was called vocational school. But I was not a good student. I was a goof off at school, and I excelled in the electrical training at vocational school. That actually got me a scholarship to Alabama Technical College, which is now Gadsden State. But we can change lives. As soon as I got to Montgomery, the Airbus bill was going on, and they needed 900 welders, and starting pay of $50,000 a pop. And if we're serious about breaking generational poverty, this was the perfect venue for that. We sponsored and did post-secondary career tech training for career tech, where you could be a high school student and you can graduate with a welding, plumbing, and you just have a trade because you really are giving someone a state. And you talk about changing their life. Someone's been in generational poverty and can go for $50,000 a year. That next generation probably will go to college. But we're seeing, you know, Alabama is such a special place, and we're doing some phenomenal things. And we're dealing with budgets and the things we deal with. But one thing I appreciate, I was saved at the Billy Graham Crusade in Gadsden, Alabama in 1973. A lot of people didn't know Billy Graham came to Etowah County, but he was there in Gadsden, and I actually walked the aisle. And I am a passionate Christian. If anyone keeps up my Facebook, I try to put my faith, I try to promote my family, my love for my wife, my children, but my God as well, as I promote our state. There's a case in DeKalb County, Alabama, that just got under my skin, Chandler versus James. You all will probably remember this. It took place at Valley Head High School. with Judge Howard Dement, where he ruled prayer was unconstitutional. Y'all probably remember this case. But anyway, I sponsored a bill, and actually the House caucus picked it up and made an agenda bill. But in 2015, we sponsored and passed a school prayer bill. And it is 100% legal and constitutional. We worked on this night and day with people all over the nation and got this passed. But student-initiated prayer is 100% legal in school. They can express their religious views in artwork and classwork. They cannot be disruptive to the educational process. They can't be profane or crude in anything. But if they want to wear a Christian t-shirt, that is 100% legal. Their First Amendment rights don't stop there at the schoolhouse door. We had, when I was on the school board, not because of animosity towards the Gideons, but we had a school in my district that refused to let the Gideons pass out Bibles. So when I found out about it, you can rest assured it did happen. I actually went to the school and helped them pass out the Bibles, but that is an election. An elected process. You announce if you elect to come to the assembly, just like we give the Bible to you. We will pass those out to you. But I'm amazed that people do not understand where this nation came from. When people try to talk to me about separation of church and state, because many people believe it exists in our founding documents. It does not. I love to ask them, can you show me that? You know, that came from a private letter between Thomas Jefferson and the Danbury Baptist in Danbury, Connecticut, meaning the exact opposite of what it said. You can, I was on a radio talk show a while back, and I just mentioned the fact that our U.S. Capitol, by a vote of the Congress, was used as a church. It's the largest church in the nation. And the radio host went, what? And I said, Google it, look it up. But it's a fact. Every president from Thomas Jefferson to Abraham Lincoln attended church at the U.S. Capitol. And as we get young people in Montgomery, and I'm passionate about young people, and I love to talk to them, my favorite question, and nobody's got it right now, is who can tell me why the Liberty Bell is named the Liberty Bell? And they have some great answers. But the true answer is Leviticus 25:10 is engraved to the side, proclaim liberty throughout the world and all the inhabitants thereof. It hung at the Pennsylvania Steakhouse, which you know is Independence Hall. It's just amazing when we talk about Judge Roy Moore and the Ten Commandments, the acknowledgement of God. At our state Supreme Court, did you know that the Ten Commandments are on the interior and exterior of the U.S. Supreme Court? They actually exist in a number of buildings. If you go to D.C., you can literally see engraved in concrete the faith of our founding fathers. Every single monument has scripture in it and talks about their faith. In Rainbow City, I got national attention, didn't mean to. A few years ago, we had a flat Stanley of wire. If I told you it was a manger scene, you would know it was. It had some Christmas lights on it. The Freedom from Religion people, which I dealt with a number of times as a school board member, came to Rainbow City and attacked them and said, you know, this has got to go, separation of church and state. Rainbow City quickly took it down. So we got together, and we, the people, peacefully assembled at our town square. And we had a live nativity. And we had hundreds of people there. But it's funny how it played out on the front page of the newspapers, but it got media all over the nation. They couldn't find anybody to sue. Because, you know, in my response back, as I told them Merry Christmas in the letter, my letterhead said, Private Citizen Mack Butler, and I signed it, Private Citizen Mack Butler. They kept thinking the city had coerced this. The city was not involved. I didn't ask permission, and I told them, I don't need permission. We, the people, are going to peacefully assemble and do what our founders did. And it's pretty cool what we've done, and we've done this every year since. I had a live nativity thing there. So if they didn't like the flat Stanley one, I know they don't like this one. But this nation was literally founded on Judeo-Christian values. It was founded a Christian nation. And if you don't believe me, go read the Mayflower Compact. The Mayflower Compact tells exactly why they came as disciples of Christ. That inspired our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution. The couple of pieces of legislation that I'm very proud of, I've had 2 pro-life bills signed into law, one of which a federal judge, Myron Thompson, has blocked. A couple of years ago, myself and Senator Phil Williams did the dismemberment bill. Second trimester abortion is done by literally ripping arms and legs off the baby and the baby bleeds out. The baby cannot be delivered as such because it's too large. That is the most barbaric thing that is legal in this nation. Last session, we sponsored the assisted suicide ban. Because where the fear is, we've had 6 states that have legalized assisted suicide. We were very careful, and I worked with the hospice doctor to make sure that we had language, because in the dying process, when they're providing aid and comfort to the person, we left language in there that would allow that to not make a doctor a criminal. When you worry about someone that's depressed or someone that's poor, or you could say, gee, Grandma, we love you, but it's time for you to go. We all know people that have had a diagnosis, and either a misdiagnosis or a true miracle is alive, and when they had 6 months to live, they're alive 20 years later. But that was a phenomenal piece that we did get through. Back a couple of years ago, I got contacted one day by a mom. She was very concerned about her drug addict son. And drugs is such a, it touches every single family. But the son was getting the stuff legal at the quick shops. It's called Kratom. It's an opiate substitute. In small doses, it's a stimulant. Large doses, it's an opiate. But the Kratom, I had never heard of this stuff. I'd seen it in the quick shops. I thought it was a 5-hour energy drink. This stuff comes from Southeast Asia, but kids were getting hammered on. A 5-year-old could go get it, but they were selling at the stores. Bottom line, we made it a Schedule 1. Because the point was, if you need this painkiller, you need to go get it through a doctor and do some process. I guess one of the biggest things I like to teach, and I hear Fox News get it wrong, I hear U.S. senators get it wrong. Last year, I was in a debate at the University of Alabama Honors College with a professor, and it was the largest attended event they had had. And these were all law students. And I said, by a show of hands, how many have learned we have 3 equal but separate branches of government? Every hand goes up. And I said, you're everyone wrong. They're far from you. I said, you need to read the Federalist Papers because it is crystal clear. By design, the founders created the courts to be the weakest branch of government. They have no monies and no armies. The executive branch only has a sword, but the legislative branch, which is closest to the people, can be recalled by the people, and literally is we the people, is the most powerful branch of government. The legislative branch has the power of the purse. The legislative branch has the power to impeach the other 2 branches. If you were paying attention to what just went on in Montgomery, that power being exercised. The legislative branch is the only branch that can raise taxes, declare war. The legislative branch is the only branch that can legislate all by itself with a veto override. And I asked the students, you call that equal? Thankfully, the law professor that was there said, guys, he's actually right on this. Well, I knew I was because I read the Federalist Papers. But if you go back to the founding of this nation, it's incredible that we the people, and I personally believe we the people, the church founded this nation. But there again, when I speak places and explain to people that we the people have all this power, we the people, the church has dropped the ball. We the people allowed prayer to be removed from schools. We the people allowed Roe v. Wade. We the people most recently, regardless of how you feel about gay marriage, we allowed one of the most bogus rulings to happen right here in Alabama. That is a states' rights issue. And when I talk to people about this, you know, I had a young man at the house the other night, and he was telling me he was against Roe v. Wade. And I was telling him, you know, that ruling incidentally dealt with one county in Alabama. But I said, can you read the 10th Amendment for me? And so he reads it. The federal government only has the power that was delegated to them. Everything else goes to the states. The federal government is few and defined, their authority. The states is broad and undefined. I said, can you show me marriage anywhere in the Constitution? And he just smiled at me. I said, that's a state's issue. The state can allow you to, there's a case right now where guys want to marry his computer. The state can allow that. But that's a state's rights issue. But you know, they used the 14th Amendment, which has been the most abused amendment. The 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868 for one purpose only, was to reintegrate the southern states with freed slaves. It wasn't so Bob and Mary could get married and all the other things. It's just been used as a catch-up. Touching back on the school prayer case, I'm sad to tell you, it was an Alabama that did that. And probably the most unqualified justice we ever had was a man named Hugo Black from Ashland, Alabama. Hugo Black was a Democrat, and he also was a Klansman. But when Hugo Black had the school prayer case, oh, by the way, you know, Roosevelt tried to stack the courts because the courts kept ruling against him, and he persuaded the courts to actually rule in favor of his progressive ideas. It was Hugo Black that cut a deal with Roosevelt, got appointed, the most unqualified justice ever, but he's the one that ignored 150 years of precedents. And when I say that there's so much there about this nation's founding. Did you know that public school began in the church? The term Sunday school literally is from school being taught at the church. Our very first teachers were the pastors. The pastors are the most educated person in the community. The very first textbook was the Holy Bible. The first real textbook, after that, is called the New England Primer, used from 1690 to 1930. Every single founding father learned to read with a New England Primer, which is full of scripture. A number of the founding fathers, this is a fact, reprinted those New England Primers and distributed those in their states. If you ever wonder how they really felt, I like to go back to the very 1789. The guys that did all this stuff, put it together, passed the First Amendment. One of their first actions they did was they turned around and by a vote hired a Christian chaplain for the U.S. Congress that's still there today. They instilled Christian morality in the armed forces. They hired chaplains for the armed forces, and guess what? They actually provided federal funds for evangelical purposes with the Indians. But Hugo Black ignored all that and passed the 62, 63 prayer cases. And I am offended when you talk about monuments. There's a federal building in Birmingham, Alabama, named after Klansman Black. The Hugo Black Federal Building. If you want to take something down, take that down. But you know, when the school prayer went out, we replaced it with drugs, with condoms, with rape, with murder, night and day. And I'm going to blame a lot of that on another progressive named LBJ. LBJ, in my opinion, injured America more than any other president. Because if you go back, you know, the war on poverty, you know what the number one indicator of poverty is? Fatherless home. Number 2 is no high school diploma. Number 3 is drug use. He provided a financial incentive to remove the father from the home. I spoke briefly, we spoke recently, the city of Gadsden had asked me to come and speak on a poverty initiative, and they wanted to talk about payday lending. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm a capitalist. I'm of the opinion that payday lending, as horrible as it is, you're not very financially literate if you're using those. If that's your game plan. I said, in schools we can do a better job teaching financial literacy. But I said, guys, if we are serious about fighting poverty, let's go with the number one indicator is fatherless homes. If we can reunite the united family, provide an incentive for the father to be in the home and not to be removed. To me, looking at the economics, if you go back to 1623 and see what Bradford did in Jamestown, you know, they lived in a commune and they were socialists and they all worked the garden. Whether you worked or not, you got the same share. Human nature, people didn't work. They were literally starving to death, and this is a fact. You can go read Bradford's diaries. In sheer desperation, you know, the beginning of capitalism and the start of it is private property rights. And this was where he was getting ushered into that. Just in sheer desperation, he was like, David, this is your acreage here. Whatever you sow, you reap. So David started getting there 2 hours early and staying 2 hours late. You know, the federal government right now is wearing people out. If you work over 40 hours or you work a second job, they're going to spank you so hard you don't want to do that again. I talk to people all the time that don't want to work overtime because of the tax situation. Go back to what Bradford did and provide an incentive and allow people to reap the fruit of their labor. People will, like Bradford discovered, get there 2 hours early and stay 2 hours late. One of his quotes in there said, he said, I would have been accused of tyranny and oppression had I ever said these people were not too infirm to work. But that's, the harvest was so great, but allowing people to keep and have the incentive. But we can change America with just a few tweaks of incentivizing positive behavior. We reward what behavior we should penalize, and we penalize what behavior we should reward. And we are working in Montgomery with Senator Livingston there, with Nathaniel, of trying to get Alabama working again. The biggest thing I see is generational poverty. We have got people that do not own an alarm clock. Their parents didn't, their grandparents didn't. But if we can show them that they can reach the benefit of their hard work. I had a young man graduating with my daughter come by my office the other day wanting some scrap metal. We're an electrical contractor, we have all kinds of scrap metal. And I was like, what's going on in your life? And he was telling me how he'd gotten injured like 2 years before. And an attorney had told him, don't work, I'll get you some money. I chewed the guy out. And I said, this guy's going to have you live in poverty the rest of your life. You can make 100-fold whatever you can get on the settlement. He was perfectly healthy. And when he left, he was like, yeah, I'm going to go. And I hope he did. But we need to get people back to work. One of my favorite scriptures is Genesis 3:19. I put this on Facebook the other day for Labor Day. By the sweat of your brow, so shall you eat all the days of your life. Because of sin, we were instilled to work. And all of us take pride in our work. It gets you to hold your shoulders back and take pride in that. If we can incentivize more people to work and invest in our young people, the education investment comes back to us 100-fold, making that person a positive, productive member of society. I feel like I've talked way too long. I want you to get insights to who I am. But do you have any questions for me? Surely somebody has some legislative questions that go. Yes, sir.
Yes, question, Black. I have one question. When you have an elected official like Birmingham mayor block the monument, our history out, which our history, the Democratic term for it is changed. But when you have an elected official that goes against our law, can he not be sued and held accountable?
Well, one thing that would really happen with that, what he was trying to do, for an elected official that's supposed to be a leader, that was sowing discord. He could have incited a riot, but he is actually breaking the law. And I've got to commend our Attorney General for his swift action. And a lot of people understand what we did in that bill. We basically fixed it, where there is no recourse to remove a monument over 40 years old. If you read it, there's no definition. It doesn't tell you which court to go to or anything, because we meant to protect those. But yes, he is guilty. Someone really could have been hurt or killed by those actions. It is funny, when I was debating that bill on the House floor, I brought up what Condoleezza Rice said. Of course, the chairman of the Black Caucus told me he didn't know who Condoleezza Rice was, so I reminded him. She was our former Secretary of State from Alabama, and just happens to be black. And she doesn't want history sanitized. There's so much wrong with what's going on with this, and it's not going to fix anything. I had two grandfathers that served proudly with the Confederacy, but the whole thing was not over slavery. If it was, then why didn't Lincoln go after the northern states that had slavery? They had slaves after we did. But it was over the Northern Depression, the industrialization of the North, taxes and tariffs. There were so much more components. One thing a lot of people didn't know is that a lot of the slaves were actually white. My last name is Butler, and guess what? We're from Ireland. Guess what we did for folks? You may call us indentured servants, but we were slaves. Slavery took place as shareholders, as sharecroppers after slavery. Slavery was without a doubt one of the worst sins of this nation. But when Columbus got here, Columbus had slaves. The Native Americans had slaves. And yes, our founding fathers were wrong, and they had slaves. But to want to take down Columbus or Jefferson, whoever, I don't know anybody today that ever was a slave or anybody that owned a slave. But what Mayor Bell did was so irresponsible for a leader to do, to incite violence, and that could have been really bad. But we're gonna prevail on it. And our monument bill may need some tweaking. As soon as that happened, in Gadsden, at our bridge, we have a statue of Emma Sampson, a 15-year-old girl that was heroic. There were calls to remove it, there was some protests out there. There is a Facebook page that was starting at going that people were targeting me in, but it cannot happen. We have, you can't change the name. My wife right here, my sweetheart, is a direct descendant of Robert E. Lee. Robert E. Lee was a hero. Anybody have any other questions? Yes, sir.
Outside of education, what does you see is our biggest challenge to Alabama, and any ideas how to get us around?
Well, it's several things. Of course, education, we need people to work, but our budget, 93% of earmark, we are hamstrung on our budget, just like at home. I don't like earmarks. As a 10-year veteran of the Etowah County Board of Education, almost every penny we had was earmarked. We went through some of the toughest financial times with proration, when the economy went south, but we built 5 new high schools at the same time, and I'm proud to have been part of that. You've got to be innovative, but you've got to have some flexibility. Which one thing we did pass flexibility from the school board. We literally would need a roof on a band room, but we didn't have money for it. But we had $800,000 earmarked for textbooks in the year we didn't need textbooks. Guess what we bought? We had to buy textbooks. But earmarking, I see, is one big, it is a struggle block to us in the legislature. Because, you know, when I talk about we the people, we're your guys. We're your vote now. And at your home, you don't have several different pockets and say, well, I really want to pay the power bill. We got all this money earmarked for our cruise next summer. You probably need to wiser to pay the power bill. But that, when I got the money earmarked, I could not believe earmarks people that foot, and I see that as a huge stumbling block. But I am just so proud of being out there to be part of the process, because we can figure this out. It's going to take some challenges. It's going to take some tough work to do some things, because we do want to pump money we can. You know, when you hear us talk about $700 million going to Medicaid, that sounds like a lot of money. But the real number is $7 billion. That's with a B. When you add the matching and the provider taxes, that's $700 million. And we won't help you people. We want to help people out. But you know, the most compassionate thing we can do is help someone become independent and self-sufficient. Hope that answers your question. Yes, sir.
I want to make a comment and bring you a little background to something you may not know. Just talking about school prayer cage, I'm the guy who lost in front of DeMint. I grew up with DeMint. He was 2 grades ahead of me in school, and I represented the school board, and we lost in his court in Montgomery. I appealed the case to the 11th Circuit against the ACLU. We went up to the 11th Circuit, and Bill Pryor called me and said, look, I've got a political future. How about then you take that case over for it? I think I can win it. I said, I don't know whether it can be one or not, but anyway, I turned the case over to him. He changed the 14 words, and the rest is history.
That is an honor to see you, Ben.
No, I just want to give him some background.
Chandler versus James is one of the groundbreaking cases, and the Santa Fe case in Texas as well. But that is remarkable that you're here. I want to actually shake your hand, because the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, when they overturned that, they kicked his teeth in. And what bugs me about DeMint, what he did was unlawful. You know, as he ruled on summary judgment. But if you look prior to that, there was on Capitol Hill, President Clinton was in office at the time. The Republicans were about to do a constitutional amendment, because on Capitol Hill in Judiciary, there were 3 students that had been suspended for 10 days. Their crime was bringing in Bible to school. But Clinton was clever. He issued a presidential guideline, which doesn't have the weight of law, but it's similar. He sent out not 1, but 2, and it laid out everything that's in that 11th Circuit ruling. But every educator in the nation got that. They didn't know it. They still filed the case. But DeMint, as a federal judge, didn't know that. I personally think he was evil to do it. You know, they sent monitors to school to make sure nobody was praying silently. How do you know you get before a test, I imagine everybody's ready. But this nation was founded on it, that's why I like to tell people where we came, because most people have no clue that church took place at our U.S. Capitol, and they're just amazed by that. But anyway, good to hear that. Anybody have any other questions? I think I've kept y'all way too long. We're heading to the Alabama game. So if anybody wants to say Roll Tide, if you're not a Roll Tide fan, I'm sorry. But that's what we're heading.
Our speaker next month is Josh Jones, candidate for governor. Our speaker in November is Scott Dawson, who's also a candidate for governor. Hope to see all of you that's here, but everybody bring at least one friend. Are there any other announcements or anything that needs to be said? Okay, let's all file good, at least one.